we played 25 games in 46 days before the stretch.
Oh,
so we're going and we're traveling,
Yeah.
So my best bet is to be able to try to find it when I'm on the road in various, communities where I can find squash.
Your squash game is outside your hometown.
That's right.
Like most people are like, oh shit, I'm not going to be able to play squash because I'm on the road. But
Yeah.
you're the total inverse.
I'm the 100% opposite of that. Yeah, it's the only place I really can play.
Here we are for another edition of Boast About It. I'm here with Dave Koehn, who literally cold called us to play squash. Dave, welcome.
Yeah, as you can see, very cold indeed. It was a cold call too, both figuratively and literally.
I didn't think of the pun, but the guy who runs the squash center is named Seth.
Yeah.
That's all he does all day long is puns, so he will definitely appreciate the cold call pun. First of all, let's talk about what you do, which is kind of cool. You're the voice of the Milwaukee Bucks, right?
Yep, that's right. So it gets me a chance to get out and see the world a little bit, see this country specifically, and I've been the broadcaster for the Bucks, one of two. So I do primarily radio, but I do some television as well for the Bucks. And I've been in this position for the last 5 years. Prior to that, I was at the University of Virginia, where I was their broadcaster for football, men's basketball. I got to call a national title there. I got to the Bucks 1 year after they won the NBA title. But I did get to call a championship at Virginia, which was pretty cool.
They've got Key, say goodnight, and dunks it down. And Virginia with the all-time turnaround title.
And so still spend time in Virginia and Charlottesville, my off-season home is, which is where I play squash, but subsequently in Milwaukee. Not a whole lot of squash there, so.
But that's interesting. You live half your life in Virginia and half your life in Milwaukee.
Yeah, that's right. So it's kind of it's very unconventional in terms of how we go about it. We don't have kids, so we're able to do it. I think I'd be a candidate for Dad of the Year, maybe the opposite of Dad of the Year if we did have kids doing what we're doing. But it's tough enough that I leave our two French bulldogs behind home. Actually they came to Wisconsin this week, which was kind of fun. My wife will go back and forth. And so, it's a fun lifestyle. It really is, and it gives me a chance to meet people like yourself, And
yeah. So the first time you called, I want to say it was like 6 weeks ago or something.
Yeah.
You just emailed the front desk and you're like, "Hey, I'm in town. Who are you playing that time?"
We were playing the Knicks.
Yeah. So you were playing the Knicks. You were in town to play the Knicks.
Yeah.
And this time you're in town to play the Nets.
Yeah,
right?
and that's a funny thing too, because when I last exchanged emails and texts with you, I was saying, hey, we're not going to be back here till April, so put it on the books. In April, we're going to play.
I have it on my. I have it. I have it in my calendar. April. Yeah. And it's like.
And so then all of a sudden, the NBA's got something called the NBA Cup, which was formerly known as the in-season tournament for people who don't follow. And so what it does is in December, you don't know what your schedule is going to be. It's fluid because the last 2 years the Bucks have played in the semifinals of this tournament, so that's been in Las Vegas every year. And so you don't know if you're going to be in the semifinals of that until like a week or two before. We did not go to the semifinals this year, so they had to schedule 2 other games. Just so happened it fell in New York, and that's why you and I get to sit here today and talk today, and then we're going to play squash.
We are going to play squash. I'll report on that in the comments at the end. You literally flew in last night, right?
Yeah.
And you said, I think you said that the temperature in Milwaukee was
1 degree on the
Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit for those of you at home. Yeah, that's very cold if you don't follow Fahrenheit.
So
what is that in Celsius? That's
like I don't know, because 32 is 0, so that's got to be like minus 15 or something. You want
to be playing an indoor sport on days like that. Yeah. And so we got off the plane and I felt like we were in Florida here with the snow behind us, but it's a lot warmer in New York today than it is in Milwaukee and Chicago.
One of my favorite expressions: the weather is always fine on a squash court.
Amen to that.
But you started playing tennis. Now the last guy I interviewed, we were just talking before, he was like a pretty high-level tennis, and he gave us 10 things that tennis players should learn when they play squash. So I'm going to send that to you when it's done.
Yes, yeah. I got a feeling I got a pretty good sense for a lot of them, but yeah, I'm probably still battling a lot of those.
I bet that's true. So, but what made you start playing squash? And start with that.
I grew up, as you mentioned, playing tennis all the way through to college. I stopped in college, kind of burned out a little bit because we went after it pretty good, and so a lot of my buddies and guys I played with played in college too. I just decided I wanted to have the college experience. I actually got into broadcasting then too. So I went to the University of Kansas, and at the time they had a really good men's tennis team. They don't have a men's tennis team at all. I think they were top 10 at the time, and all my roommates were tennis guys at KU. And so that's when I started calling games as a student at the University of Kansas. So I stopped playing tennis for about maybe 6 years then, 5-6 years, and then I got back into it. I kind of refound my joy of that. But then in Charlottesville, they built a facility called Boar's Head Sports Club for anybody who.
You were there when they built it?
Yeah, when it went up. Yep, I was. And
what year was that?
I would guess around 2010, 2012, somewhere therein.
Because it's huge, right? It's 20 courts or something?
Yeah, and they've got a couple glass courts,
Yeah.
a couple doubles courts, and the University of Virginia's team plays there. They didn't even have at the time it was a club sport at UVA.
Yeah.
And so, gentleman that helped make this all happen is a guy I hit with in Charlottesville, but he wanted it to be bigger, and he wanted to support a team. So they now are a top 10 squash program for men's and women's squash, working with
Nice.
Mark Allen, who's the best. He's the pro that, actually it's funny, when I first started, so back to your original question of how I got into it. I had friends, I said I was with tennis guys all the time. A lot of my tennis friends had also played squash, and they said, you got to try squash, because this is great. I was like, yeah, I'll try it sometime. So sure enough, this club pops up, and I had free access to it because I'm working at the University of Virginia. And so, this gentleman who put this, money toward this, one of his goals was to grow the game. And I probably am not sitting here with you if it weren't for, I'll say his name, Jaffrey Woodruff. I mean, he's fantastic, and he deserves a lot of credit for what he did to invest in the game. And so as a member of the University of Virginia, I was able to get free access to this club, and it was beautiful. And I was like, well, all right, I'm here. I got to try it now. I've been hearing about it. So I play, and I remember the first time I played, Mark Allen, who is the pro, that started, he's now coaching their teams. I didn't have a racket, so he used me as a racket. You can try this, right? It says Mark Allen on the racket. I'm like, I am over my skis right now as somebody who has not, played this game, and now I'm working with this pro who's got some obvious renown. And I just got hooked. I was totally hooked, and I love getting my heart rate up. I'm kind of addicted to getting my heart rate up. And so the fact that I could do that in an hour's time, get this incredible workout, not even know I'm doing it, because as we'll talk about later, I don't have a lot of squash in Milwaukee, so I spend a lot of time on a Peloton. I'm also an avid mountain biker when I can. Not a lot of that, unfortunately, in Milwaukee, either in the winter in particular. But so anyway, I just love that, like, you have no idea that you're getting this incredible, intense workout, and an hour later, you look at your stats, and you're like, my heart rate was just 150 beats a minute for an hour, and I didn't even know it. So. Yeah. And then the game within the game. There's so many things I can talk about, what I love about the sport.
Well, let's go through a few. So you said, one of the things you prefer, I don't want to say you prefer over tennis, because tennis is still a great sport.
Yeah.
We want everyone to play all these sports.
Yeah.
But one of the things that you found about squash was the intensity.
Yep.
So you like that.
Love
and then
it.
you talked about sort of the game within the game.
Yep.
Talk to us about that.
I just love the chess match. I love the angles and the ability to continue to add to your repertoire in your game. Once you've sort of mastered one thing, you start, mastered, I say with quotation marks around it, but there's always another one to add. And every time you think you've climbed that mountaintop, then there's another guy that you got to play. And I guess that's true for most sports, but that just takes you apart because you don't have this one little facet. And then knowing your opponent and knowing what their tendencies are, figuring that out, and then during and even within that one point, thinking about where are they thinking that I'm going to go. All right, I just did that in my head. I got to go do this time. And like, you're thinking of this in a split second. And I love the immediacy of that. And it's a chess match with high intensity cardio and tied to it. So, and I love the fact that it's from a time perspective, it's something you can do during a work day. Without spending an egregious amount of time.
What are you doing right now?
That's right. We got a game tonight. And so you and I are going to get a run in, and a couple hours later I'll be at Barclays Center, courtside, sitting there calling that game.
Nice.
So yeah, it's great. I love it, and I've become addicted to it. It's just a ton of fun.
You discovered it because someone built a squash court near you.
That's right.
It's probably one of the biggest hindrances of squash is the lack of availability of courts, so people don't know what it is.
No question. And it's to me one of the greatest shortcomings in the sport right now. I think it's such a great game. Pickleball is a little easier entry, I think. Yeah. But at the same time, even from a skills perspective, anyone can kind of do it. But I not to bemoan
No,
pickleball.
but you know what? I like this. I just want to double down on what you sort of where you were going. I mean, again, pickleball, great. You want to play pickleball, great. Squash, sometimes people try to say, everyone could play squash. I don't think that's true.
No.
You have to really, it's a little bit more like the Marines.
Yeah,
the proud, the few.
Right.
Like, you got to really want to work at it. It's
That's
going to be
right.
amazing for you. Pickleball, you can have a cocktail and play.
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
You're not going to do
and
that.
that's the reason it's grown so
Yeah.
much, because it is easy, entry. But I can't tell you how many people I talk about what I'm doing, even on our travel party with the Bucks, and I say I'm going to play squash. They're like, squash, and now they kind of know what it is because they've seen me doing this in the various cities.
Well done.
but they're like, what are you eating? I'm like, no, I'm not eating anything. I'm going to play squash. Like, what's squash? So they, it's still something that a lot of people don't know what it is. But to me, I think for someone who loves the game as much as I do and seeks it out as much as I do, to go to certain places and still not be able to play it is an indictment. And I think that what you all have done here is amazing from the perspective that I used to come to New York looking to play this game, and I did not. This was one of the cities I had a hard time finding games because the access just wasn't there. One of the things that is nice about some of these clubs around the country is they do open their arms when you come from out of town. They say, hey, I know you're looking for a place. Let's, no problem. Come on, we got someone we can set you up with and have fun. And so I think that's great. There's not enough of those places. So what you guys are doing here, I think is so great for the sport. And I'm a walking example of where I wasn't able to play in New York City when I come play here. But now, as of this year, I feel like I've got 2 spots, both of your clubs. So
boom!
I appreciate what you guys are doing.
It is true, because it's a funny thing about New York, because if there's squash players, there's a squash community, and the community will always welcome you. It's one of the things I love. It's not only in the United States, but around the world. Wherever you go, if there's a squash court there and there's a community there, they'll welcome you into it. But New York's community is around these private clubs, which becomes just the access to them becomes harder for the community itself. Like, even you find a guy who wants to play with you, and he's like, oh, I got to go do this, I got to get permission.
That's right.
So that was one of the missions of Open Squash, is to make the sport more accessible. We are a non-profit. That is actually our mission, is to make the sport more accessible.
I guess I'm Exhibit A, mission accomplished, because again, like I say, it was not something I could find. So I applaud what you guys are doing. I think it's really great.
You've told me that in Milwaukee there are no squash courts near you at all.
It's pretty remarkable. They used to, I'm told, have some courts at a club that was nearby. They're gone now. The closest squash I have is Madison, Wisconsin's got some, and I've played there a time or two.
How long does it take you to get there?
Oh, it's probably a little over an hour. So it's doable, but with my schedule it's tricky, because in season we don't have a lot of. We played 25 games in 46 days before the stretch. So we're going and we're traveling. So my best bet is to be able to try to find it when I'm on the road in various communities where I can find squash. And it's kind of fun, though.
This is why I wanted to interview you, because what I had understood for you by the emails and texts we had is that your squash game is outside your hometown.
That's right.
Like most people are like, oh shit, I'm not going to be able to play squash because I'm on the road. But you're the total inverse.
I'm the 100% opposite of that. Yeah, it's the only place I really can play. Yeah, but it's funny, you start to meet people too in these cities and in towns where you're playing. I added Toronto to my list this year too. I hadn't been playing in Toronto, but I found a club there.
So let's do that. That's going to be fun. So rank your cities in ascending order. Now, I'm going to assume that they're all great, right?
Yeah.
But as your sort of favorite places to play. So I'm sure you like to play in all of them, but sort of from the bottom to the top, we'll leave us out because you've just discovered us, and I don't want you to put us at the top, which is where we belong, and I don't want you to put us not at the top. Of
course.
And so we'll leave Open Squash off the list.
Okay.
But talk to us about some of these places.
Well, so the first place I started playing on the road, I'll never forget, it was my first year, was in Boston, where we used to stay.
Where do you play in Boston?
Well, so we were staying, there's a Ritz-Carlton downtown there, and we would stay there, and I went down to work out, and they have like 5 courts right there.
In the Ritz-Carlton?
Yeah, it's a sports club.
Shout out to the Ritz-Carlton. Wow.
It's a sports club that's connected to it. So, but their guests have access to the gym, and then there's squash courts there. So
the first one is the Ritz-Carlton in Boston.
Yeah, in Boston, and so it was super easy access. We started staying at a different hotel about a mile and a half away. So I still walk to that club from our other hotel.
And you've
And I
made
play
relationships
there.
and you just play
yeah.
there.
So I can
What's
play
the
there.
next one?
Let's see. I started playing in San Francisco regularly. Had a common connection with I mentioned Mark Allen at University of Virginia, a good friend of his, runs that club.
Which club? The Bay Club?
Yeah, the Bay Club in San Francisco. So the other part of this,
I've played there. That's a great
yeah,
club.
it's a great club, and it's the other part for me, a big piece of this is it walking distance? Is it close to where we're staying? Because I don't have a lot of time either. A lot of time because I'm, we got like today we got a game tonight, so I'm usually doing prep, and if there's only a day between games, sometimes on a back-to-back. I'll still play day of. If I get my work done by about 1 o'clock, I'll get out. And to your point, we can play real quick, be in and out, and then I can go to the arena and feel like recharged and ready to go. But Bay Club in San Francisco, and then let's see, Atlanta is a great place to play. A lot of different, and actually they've got a new facility.
A1 or whatever it's called?
There's a number of places I played there. Windy Hills was one of them. A couple clubs, but there's actually there's an open squash type format. I'm blanking on the name of it now, but it's terrific. And so they've launched that in the last year. I've discovered that facility in Atlanta, but I've been playing there prior to that. And then I'll play. Last year I added Philadelphia to the.
Oh, there's a lot of courts in Philadelphia.
Spectre Center is a spot that that I've added to the list here in the last year. So
you can always get a court there. I mean, they're 20 plus courts.
It's fantastic. So that's probably the top of my list in terms of places to play. I love that.
And then
facility.
You said you added Toronto.
In Toronto, so I met a guy so I also started playing Chicago quite a bit, really close to where we stayed downtown there. It's just a smaller athletic club, but it's great. There's some really good players there, some great people I've met there. And so one of the people I played with there said, "Oh, you got to play with my cousin. He's in Toronto." I was like, "I'm looking for Toronto." So it turns out his club is very close to where we were too. And I'm blanking on the name of some of these clubs because there's a lot of them. And I only just discovered this one this year, but great guy. He's a great matchup for me too. So we had this, we played 45 minutes and hour, and just like by the end of it, I'm gassed. So it was great. And then Charlotte's got one I got to drive to. Let's see, Cleveland I'm getting ready to add. I found a spot there. I haven't played there yet. But Detroit is another place that's fantastic. There's a couple different places. In Birmingham we used to stay. Great club there. Birmingham is a suburb outside of Detroit. Yep. And then downtown, the Detroit Athletic Club, right next to Tiger Stadium, is where I've been playing lately. That's a fantastic place. And so just played there about a week ago. And so, that's a couple off the top of my head. There's a number of them. That's
an amazing, I mean, I think you just rattled off 10 places.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you come in, you fly in, you play squash, you then go do the color commentary on the game. Do you ever think about doing color commentary for squash?
Well, so I'm a play-by-play guy, so that means I'm calling the action. But could I do color analysis? Yeah, probably. I would probably be better as a host, having an analyst with me that really knows the ins and outs. In some ways, I kind of feel, I think we all probably battle it to a certain degree, but imposter syndrome, especially when it relates to a sport I haven't been playing quite as long. I think with tennis, I think I'd have a little more insight because it was in my blood from the start. Yeah. But I'm still learning the game of squash. But I think I know enough certainly to be dangerous. But I mean, shoot, I've helped Mark Allen out a little bit with some things that they've done at Virginia from time to time. But it's fun. Man, watching squash too, you have such a different appreciation when you play the game than when you watch it. And
there was a little while where it's probably 10 years ago now, where they were wearing heart monitors whilst they played, and they displayed the heart monitors.
That is insane.
It's insane.
It's like I get exhausted just watching these guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
their heart rates are at 190.
And the point
they
never ends.
serve, and their heart rate goes straight to 190 and stays there for the whole time until they serve again.
And they just don't miss. And I'm just like, I quit. I quit. Just watching you guys have these points. But so no, my
not only
utmost
do
respect.
they not miss, but they get to stuff that's just insane.
Yeah, the efficiency is just ridiculous. Their ability to put themselves in spots to get these things and minimize their movement. That's the biggest thing as a tennis player. I've always had to try to work on, and I've gotten better at it, but minimizing my movement and not overrunning shots, because your tendency as a tennis player is to move your feet and to get there. With squash, you don't want to overrun this thing, otherwise you get yourself into
One of the
world
things
trouble.
about, and I do this just so you don't think I'm criticizing other people, in squash, you're running along and then you find yourself holding the wall.
Right.
The pros never touch the side wall.
That's right.
They never, ever touch the side wall.
Yep.
So I'm overrunning it, just like you. Well, look, thanks so much for coming down. Let's make sure we have enough time for you and me to actually play squash.
Let's do it. Maybe
And,
we'll get Giannis out here one day.
Yeah.
Can you imagine going against a 7-footer in a squash court?
Oh my God, I can't. But if he ever wants to play, we would love to host him.
Yeah, I still haven't been able to coax one of the NBA guys. I have had some nibbles and some bites from some of our coaches and staff. So one day I'll have to get some of those guys out. But
Anyone,
yeah,
this is true.
yeah.
Anyone from those teams that want to play.
All right. In April, I may have a suitor for when you and I play. I may bring somebody along. If
You
he's
just
able.
let me know. Give me more than 1 week's notice so I can make sure I get the court at any time you
You've
want.
got 3 months notice.
Yeah.
April 6th, put it down.
Yeah, but I need the time. I can't block the entire facility for the whole day. I need the time.
If I'm going to deliver Giannis, we need the whole day. No, I'm kidding.
I can probably take one court out for the whole day. I could probably do that. Okay, I'll take one court out for you for the whole
Not
day.
for me, for him.
For him. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, it's great. I'm sure we're going to have a great time on court. And I am going to introduce you to the guys at the National Squash League. Just, we did a little, we can do a little
Moonlighting?
moonlighting
You bet.
for squash.
I appreciate it.
Dave,
Great to visit.
Thank you so much. Okay. Let's go play squash.